Now, listen, bit of advice. Tell me the truth if you think you know.
Hey everyone, and yes, I know, we just had a video about the Wolf Boy. I understand everyone's tired of talking about Valko. Yes, the Wolf Boy is gone. Yes, he's been removed. Yes, this whole situation is making everyone a bit annoyed and just tired of it.
My brother once told me that nothing someone says before the word but really counts. But
Here's the thing, I don't actually buy the Valko announcement. Why is this? He's going to be removed permanently, he is not going to get any of his stuff, and they're going to be developing the male leads in Love and Deepspace. Okay, yeah, I get that. I still don't buy it, primarily because the complete silence for one. Two, the fact that global and Chinese whales have basically decided to jump ship to the point where it's like the Titanic. Yeah, just hanging straight for that iceberg. And you also have that despite everything, nothing's being stated. So what's going on here? Now, as a company, we all know what their whole job is: to make more money, to ensure that the bottom line continues to go up with each year. And how do you do that for an Otome game? You do it by introducing love interests, you do it by introducing new cards, new outfits, new everything in order to keep on going. But let's be fair, the entire situation of we are never going to expand again, it made no sense. It came way too fast on June 30th. That's actually important. Now, let's take something into consideration. At this current moment, Infold and Paper Games are in a swamp. They're right next to Shrek.
Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
It is that bad of a situation. As bad as the initial backlash was, it was literally a coughing baby in comparison to the nuclear hellfire storm that is currently going on right now, with global players leaving, with Chinese whales leaving, with the amount of bad press that is happening. Literally, you're going into dead game territory. You're going to dead company territory.
Here lies Squidward's hopes and dreams.
So what is going on here? Why are they so silent? Okay, so here's the thing. I can be ignorant as anyone else can be, and also an idiot. I'm not too proud to admit that. But I didn't know that July 1st and 7th were actually incredibly important to Chinese people. That this entire first week of July is critically dangerous to any type of company that's operating in China because of two events. July 1st is the founding date of the CCP. It's their anniversary. That's like 4th of July in America. In America, they basically shut down virtually everything on July 4th. Because of the celebration of breaking away from the British government to become their own nation. So why wouldn't China do the same thing? Yeah, they would. Which is why it'd be so incredibly dangerous for Infold for this type of nonsense to happen, and for them to make the announcement that, oh yeah, everything's canceled, nothing's gonna happen again, it's done. It was to stop the initial backlash that had been so bloody crazy that you had cleansing talismans, death flowers, and basically cow pies placed in front of the freaking office because of a freaking gotcha character. Come on!
Coming. I will smite you.
They had to stop that before July 1st, because they didn't. Oh, it'd be bad. Oh, it would have been bad. Let's be entirely honest here. I've actually been keeping an eye on this entire situation since it began, and I've not really said much, primarily because I don't want to repeat the same things that other people have stated. But clearly something is going on here. The regulators and probably state media would be on ultra high alert for social media unrest, which that was doing more than social media unrest. That was just unrest in general, i.e. destabilizing society. With July 1st being understood to be important, what's going on with July 7th? Okay, so I didn't know about this one. Again, what happened on July 7th is nuts. It also makes sense. This is a political day that is basically nuclear as well. July 7th is the anniversary of a terrible event that happened in China. The Marco Polo Bridge incident, where Japanese forces went into China and it started a war of resistance against them.
And here we go.
If I was Infold, I would have basically done the same thing, said, okay, yeah, we're canceling this real quick. Not gonna tell you this for the time being, just gonna say it's permanently canceled, just to shut these guys up, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. Given all the crap that has occurred with fans, toxic fans, paid war armies, the references to Unit 731, which is just crazy, the Massacre of 611, which is also just, how the hell you run into that one, I don't know. And apparently the being insensitive to domestic violence, even though, let's be fair, all the boys have that aspect fact, like, let's be fair, all the boys have done really crazy crap and illegal stuff. So yeah, I really wouldn't be throwing stones at a glass house in that instance. But hey, I'm not the one causing this. So yeah, basically, they had to be quiet. They had to shut the hell up. They probably had a guidance chat that any more public outcries, that any public defense, any drama that happened during those specific times, during that specific week, let's be honest, it's not just the game gets shut down. The entire company could get shut down. So yeah, it's a little interesting, isn't it? Which kind of makes sense as to why all these crazy people who did this nonsense would choose around this time to start going completely and utterly nuts to force Infold's hand. Not only that, but let's take something else into consideration. This is a company, okay? We know what the whole idea of the company is, as I've mentioned before, is to make the price go up when it comes to making more profits each and every single year. Now, I'm not sure how things work over in China compared to America, but who knows? I think the same basic idea works either way. Big number, go up, good. But then you had the behind the scenes situation. Clearly something is going on because even the developers who made Valko are depressed. There's been a massive morale hit in Infold. You had videos of the CEO pacing up and down the hallway ever since the announcement was made. So clearly the staff isn't being told what's going on. They only know that he's been canceled. But what if he hasn't been? What if this entire time this talk is being held by the executives? It's being held by the higher ups and basically sealed off so then no one could leak it that Valko's gonna return. Of course, it sounds a little bit nuts and it sounds like a bit of hopium, but it does make sense when you think of it. They poured how much money into making him? Millions! It's not easy to make a character. And the thing is that, yes, I understand the whole idea of resource depletion, that the other male characters aren't getting as many resources. The issue is when it comes to Valko. As far as we know, for some reason, there isn't a lore person in China. There is one in Global. Her YouTube channel is Angel's Corner. She knows the lore, she's way into it, and Valko has been hinted since the very beginning. So since that is the case, he is essential to the main story. Now, why is he a love interest? Who knows? But given the fact that each of the love interests have some connection to the main story, and the main story is still centered around them and the MC, it makes sense that if he's the next to come down the line, that is going to be the centerpiece of the next phase of the narrative for the lore, you would need to have him as a love interest. Not only that, but apparently he's been hinted at for a while, because whenever you select someone to be a love interest or want to meet them, it says at the very bottom, coming soon. So if that's the case, yeah, no, he's been planned. Oh, and also I heard some craziness about there was always a promise that there was going to be only 5 love interests when it came to the CN side. No, that's not even true. That was never promised. Now, that could be a promise that someone made up in their head and then applied to Infold, but it's not a promise. Unless someone can, direct me to some evidence that counters that, in which case I will come back and actually make amends for it. But still, as far as I'm aware right now, that doesn't exist. That's just a lie.
Tell me the truth if you think you know.
Now, there's also the idea of making him into an NPC. If he is an NPC, that's more time, more effort, more resources being poured in to the current love interest who desperately need it. But to rewrite the story, that would take time. That would literally make everyone waiting and whoever were angry about the resources being depleted and not being allocated towards their love interest become even worse, because it would take longer as a result. Especially given the fact that the players were already going to be given this stuff anyway. We knew that Caleb, Silas, and I think Zane had some stuff coming out later this year. So it doesn't matter if Valko is here or not, you're always going to get something for the love interest who already needed it. It was already coming. Not only that, the ongoing real world protests have been going completely crazy. Like, you have people who are signing petitions. Last time I checked, in the span of 4 days, there's been nearly 250,000 people who joined in the Bring Back Valko movement. The main petition alone shattered 160,000 signatures. And also, he's becoming more endearing to the player base. Just because they're being denied. Seriously, it's the Streisand effect all over again of people who want Valko back. That's insane. completely insane, and just shows how much people want him. Even if you don't want him, the possibility of more love interest and more story developments that are actually meaningful, that makes the story that you've been experiencing all the richer because they are needed. There's this 5-year plan for Infold, so it makes sense that they would want to keep on going with it. If these love interests are necessary for it, then it makes sense. If they were superfluous, then hey, rage till the moon comes down. It makes sense in that instance. But if they are necessary, if they're needed, if they are literally part of the narrative arc that's coming forward, then they're gonna have to be added in. Otherwise, your story suffers. Everything just breaks apart. And the thing that you love the most basically just becomes stale and sour. You can only do something for so long. Nothing can continue forever. And that's just the sad truth of it. There's also something else that I found a bit weird. Despite the fact that Valko is gone, the Infold is still giving away the launch outfits and poses for free on July 9th, apparently. If you're trying to scrub a character, if you're trying to get rid of them, if they're permanently deleted, why would you do that? Especially for a game like Love and Deepspace, where each model is different. They're not the same. Each one is rigged and changed purposefully in order to actually fit the character. So what? You're gonna say, oh yeah, we're gonna put in hundreds of man hours to adjust each of these outfits so that way they can fit onto the other MCs? Which one's easier? Literally changing all those outfits, or bring back Valko who they're meant for? Now, what do I think is going to happen after July 7th? That this could be a week, this could be a month, this could be a full year down the line. But I think Valko is going to come back. He's going to come back either as himself or slightly changed. And things are pointing towards sooner rather than later, because at this current moment, Infold needs to stop the hemorrhage. They are losing too much money in order to keep on going at this current moment in time. You have too many players who are leaving, and you're not having an influx of new players coming in, which Valko would actually help expedite. So, since that's the case, what can they do? Well, if you want my resolution for this, here it is. First, Valko comes out completely, as he's supposed to, as he is right now. Basically saying to every person who boycotted and did all this nonsense with the cow patties and funeral flowers and talismans, go screw yourself. Two, I would have it that Valko's development is placed on the back burner for a year. And for the next year, completely dedicating development to each of the love interests and the main story quest. So then that way, people get what they want. Those who need it the most get it first. Caleb, Silas, they all get it, and then it goes into sequential order. It goes from Xavier all the way to Valko, with Valko being at the end. He's new. He can wait. The other ones can't. If it's been 500 days, they need to address that, because you have to fix the bugs and everything else that's going on as well. So Valko, again, can sit on the back burner at the end of the development train. That's fine. Prioritization is necessary here. And that's kind of the problem that Infold has. They're not very good at prioritizing stuff. Sure, they want money, but they have to know that all the bugs, all the problems that occurred is what contributed to this. And if that's the case, they have to fix it. Valko was not the problem. He never was. And let's be entirely honest, why the hell would you make a in-home update, you insufferable pain in the butt? You have to literally be as dumb as a rock to think that was gonna help anything. Ugh, for Pete's sakes. But that's how I think things are gonna go, how it's gonna happen, and what could be done in order to resolve this mess. Because that's all this is. It's one hell of a mess that, let's be fair, is putting any and every boycott that has been done against Genshin look pathetic.